And welcome back to the channel. Today is the day that we're going to do the project that I've been talking about a lot. We are going to be turning my Hogwarts Castle into this. But before we get to the end result, let's just talk about the Hogwarts Castle for a little bit. This set here is the set that keeps on giving for me. I purchased this set back in COVID days. So I live in Melbourne, Victoria, Australia, and we had some of the harshest lockdowns. It was insane. We were in lockdown, out of lockdown. It was quite a crazy time. So I'm also a hairdresser, and my salon was closed for the time over COVID. Like lots of businesses were, everyone was doing it hard. And so during that time, that's sort of when I did get into Lego. So this was one of the sets that I purchased. I actually purchased this off Facebook Marketplace. Great price. And it came literally in a bag, like broken down in one bag. And as we know, so many pieces in this set. I spent ages going through and picking out the pieces and putting them all into their different colors and types of pieces, and it took forever. My husband was wrapped because it took quite a long time to do, so I was very entertained for that little bit of time. And then I built the Hogwarts Castle, and now, which I cannot believe I'm about to do, I'm going to break it down again into very, very small pieces because I want to build the university. That build just looks incredible to me. I just think they've done an amazing job. I'm really intrigued to see how they put it together because I would like to start transitioning into that part of skill set with Lego. I do have an assembly hall and a diner, which I've already got, that I would like to break down and build into something else and start trying to learn those skills in Lego. So the way to learn these skills is by doing it. So I'm going to have a look at the university and see how they've done that with this. So come along for the journey. It should be fun. So there are so many reviews out there of the Hogwarts Castle. I'm definitely not going to waste your time by doing that right now, but I'm just giving you an overall look of what the castle looks like quickly before, and this is probably morely for myself before I say goodbye to it because it is such a beautiful set. It's really quite amazing how they've put this all together. So I'm just doing a little bit of a have a look at this beautiful set before I start breaking it down. I love that part. Oh, a bit of dust in there. Sorry about that, guys. And the next time you shall see it, it shall be in lots and lots of pieces. Hello, me again. I'm just having like a little bit of a freak out about this job. Like, I think the Hogwarts Castle for me has been like sitting downstairs, like on this massive buffet. So it's just sort of been sitting there. But now that I've brought it up, like into the Lego room, it's huge. It's massive. This is like a massive job. I can't believe how big this set is. I think because I've like now brought it in with other sets, it's huge. And now I'm like, I'm having a little bit of a freak out. Like, is this actually something that I want to do? Like, do I actually want to break this down into all these pieces again and It is. It is something because it's going to be amazing. Like, it's going to look amazing. It's going to look so, so good. But like when we look at this set, like if I can just flip this camera around again, it is massive. It's such a big set. I think because it was just downstairs and it was stand by itself, it's on like a fairly big buffet downstairs. I didn't realize how, it's not until you bring it up here that you go, oh my goodness, what a big set you are. But yes, no, it is something we want to do. We're going to do this. We're going to break it down. It's going to be great. Okay, so this is what my setup has looked like for the past couple of days as I have pulled apart the Hogwarts Castle. I basically put all the pieces into different categories that make sense to me. So I've got plates that are like the odd shaped. I've got just your normal 2 by something plates, bit of technique, bridges, slopes. And I've just popped them all into these different containers. These have been fantastic. So I got them from Bunnings, and they're just really good for when you are parting out packs or parting out sets that you are either rebricking or just
parting them out to put them into your inventory. So there is quite the number of pieces. It's taken me quite the while to pull it apart, but I have actually enjoyed it. I do enjoy this part of Lego sorting, and I do find it quite fun. So I've also come across these pieces here. It will be interesting if they do use these pieces. I can't imagine they will. They may just sort of get put away for a while. So now that I have gone through and parted out the Hogwarts Castle, I do need to jump onto Rebrickable and purchase the instructions. Okay, so when we come onto Rebrickable, this is an awesome site for putting in sets that you have and being able to build different things. So I'm just going to paste in the Hogwarts Castle into the search function, having a look through. So these are all the different builds that you can make that people have come up with and put their instructions up. Most of them do cost, some of them don't. So you can sometimes find some free instructions on here. So this is the one that we're going to be building here. This is called the University, an alternate build to the Hogwarts Castle. As you can see, it is very beautiful. I'm not seeing those pieces in the photos that I was talking about before that you normally use for mountain work. So it'll be interesting if they do find a way to use them, or if they're just going to be put on the side. So you can see here a little blurb about it, instructions. All you're needing is some base plates, and it works quite well in with a modular. So we're looking at 25, about 25 pounds, 26 pounds. That's probably going to be about 20, it's going to be about 47 Australian dollars. So they're quite expensive instructions, but you can see the work that's been put in here, and it does give my Hogwarts Castle a new life. So I don't mind paying that for. How beautiful is she? She is just so delightful. This was such a satisfying, amazing build. Like, it was just incredible to build this out of Lego that I already had sitting around, which is just so fantastic. I really, really did enjoy this build. It looks amazing. Like, it just looks amazing. It's going to look so good in the city. I'm really, really going to enjoy adding some gardens and adding a few things to make this even look a bit more grander in the city. It's going to be so good. But firstly, I need to apologize. This video is out at least a week later than I wanted it to be out. We have had one of those very interesting weeks where pretty much just frustrating things just kept piling on top of each other. So my phone decided to completely die. And it was a bit of a debacle getting a new phone. I'm with Samsung, and I'm a part of some care plan where I can pretty much give my phone back because it's malfunctioning with a couple of hundred Australian dollars, and they'll send me back exactly the same phone, which they didn't do. And then they told me they didn't have it, so it was just what I was getting, and it was a little bit frustrating and very not easy to deal with. Everyone seemed to have a different opinion as to what was happening with the phone. And during all that, I somehow managed to get myself locked out of all of my Google accounts. So my YouTube, my Gmail, my Instagram, everything. I was completely locked out of it, and I couldn't gain access back in because a lot of my verifying answers were hooked to an extremely old phone number. And it was just very, very frustrating. So sorry, it's been a week. It's been a big week. So note to yourself, make sure all your information is updated, because it can be very frustrating to try and get into things when it is not. So yeah, so apologies, but we are now here and we are back. So back to the build. I was really, really interested with this build on how they were using different parts to make different elements in the build. So it's really sort of good with mocking work when you're just using your inventory. There was a lot of times when, because they are in these kind of builds, they are only using the parts that come from the set. There are a lot of parts that they don't have, so they create those parts with different parts. So for example, they'll use a 1x1 brick and a 2x1 brick, and they'll turn it into a corner. But there was lots of other different times when they've done this, and it was just like, oh, I could do that when I'm mocking. Like, it's just those learning things where you just like, oh, instead of using a snot brick, I could use Technic. I haven't used Technic much, so it was really exciting to use that. Speaking on Technic, there is a lot of Technic elements in this build, which was really kind of interesting to use as a part of a modular building. And because obviously they're trying to use up all those parts in doing designs like this, it was interesting to actually have a play with them and have a play with them how I wouldn't sort of think of them to be used. So that was really, really interesting, and again, learnt a lot. I don't have many Technic sets. They're not really something that I look at and go, oh yeah, I'd like to build that. Maybe in the future, but it's just not really something that I would use. So using those Technic builds, like I'll just show you an example. So this is just one of those cool techniques that I have learnt doing this. Just popping the Technic underside so that you can use these studs here and not use up your snot bricks. So it's just connected on. Like so. And then it's just popped in using these guys and this one here just to give it that, so you can add that on. I just thought that was a really cool way, and just something that I've sort of learnt, instead of using up all your snot bricks, and it just gives a different level, a different texture to that roof piece. I thought it was cool anyway. So another thing that was very exciting to look at was the way that they used headlights. Like, they used headlights, I call them the headlights, not bricks. Some people call them washing machines. The way that they used them in this build was really, really interesting. Like, I really did enjoy, because I do, on our pick a brick wall that I have locally, there was quite a few of those. So I did snatch them up because I know that you can use them in lots of different ways. So I do have them. So that was really, really fun to sort of look at how they do it. It really was overall an extremely clean build. Like, the build was actually really clean. Like, sometimes when you do rebrickable mocks, and I have done a couple of them now, there's a couple of times when you're doing roofing or you're doing something and you're like, oh, this isn't quite working, or it takes you a while to sort of get what they're doing there, or it's just not connected well enough. And that can be, you know, like sometimes it's just needed, like you just need to do it, you just can't get around it. But with this, I have to say this was a really, really clean build. There's like a part where you actually slot the window down into the bricks. So you build this whole section first and then you slot it down, and it's just so satisfying. Like, it took me a bit to make sure all my bricks were really straight so it just slid in nicely. But it was really satisfying when it did. Like, it was just a lot of those sort of satisfying little builds that just do slot in, and it just makes the most satisfying click. It just really, it's clean, it's Lego, it's very nice. So that was definitely in this build, and I really did enjoy that. One of the frustrating things that I did find with this build, and there was not much they could do about it, because again, you are literally just using the Hogwarts Castle. So all the parts are a part of the Hogwarts Castle. So they're not swapping out from their inventory and going, oh, well, I'll save this piece. But a lot of the pieces weren't used to their full ability. So there was lots of bricks that I'm like putting it in, and my heart's dying a little because I know that that brick could be used for something so much better and for something that I'm doing in my city, especially when it was like elements that build trees. It was so hard to just hide them behind a wall. I just had to be done. There were 2 pieces that I was meant to put underneath the Hogwarts Castle as a little it's there thing. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I couldn't hide them. I was like, no, I will take them out and I will keep them and I'll use them in a different way, because it was hard. But there are many times with this build that there are bricks that just aren't used to their full potential, and I understand why, because they needed to use the bricks that were there. But when you do create your own mocks, and I am only dabbling into that and learning that at the moment, it's very hard. It's very
Another
hard.
thing
That I found very, very useful, and I will find very, very useful, is that they make the bases of floors using lots of different color and lots of different shaped plates. So, your angle ones and your circle ones. Like, I'm sure we've all got a drawer somewhere where you've just got all those plates in there. And just knowing that those plates I probably won't use, I could use to create a floor. It's something that I have tried to do before, but I sort of got my head around a little bit more, seeing how someone's done it, how to do it, which again, so good. So I just wanted to show you all the pieces that are left over. As you can see, there's quite a few pieces left with changing over the build. Normally this would excite me because I'd be like, how can I use these in other mocks? So I've got like lots of these plates here, which I do use a lot of. I get through them quite quickly. There are a lot of great pieces here that you could be using. So if you were one who maybe you got Hogwarts for quite cheap, you would probably look at all these pieces and go, oh, wow, I can do a bit with that. That would be fine. But for me personally, I'm not sure if I'm done with Hogwarts yet. Like, I'm not sure if maybe I do eventually break this down and turn it back into the castle, or also thinking like investing wise, like maybe it is something that later on I will rebag and sell. So to do that, I would have to keep these pieces, and I am going to keep these pieces away from my inventory. So my inventory is over here. So it'll be away from that. Excuse the mess at the moment. It's a bit hectic today. So normally I'm so excited. Look at all these pieces I can part out and I can put into inventory. That'd be amazing. But honestly, I won't be doing that. I will literally be bagging this up, naming it Hogwarts Castle Spare Pieces, and putting it aside until I've really made a decision on what I'm going to do. But I am not ready to say goodbye to the Hogwarts Castle yet. After showing you all of the pieces that I will be bagging up, because again, I'm really not ready to say goodbye to the Hogwarts Castle. I'm really not ready to call this the piece that I'll be putting into my city, and I can use up the other pieces. Looking at all these pieces, I will be popping them into a bag and writing Hogwarts on them and just keeping them aside for a while, because I don't want to have to go through and pick them all out and possibly pull them out of builds that I'm already building. But what I might do, and look, this is a project that's going to be in the background, is I might actually use a couple of these pieces and just use them on these base plates, just to mock up a little bit, change a few things up. And I do know that I've got these because I do have some great pieces in here that, I sort of was like, oh, we're not using that piece, like, which, it's an amazing build. Like, it's cool that we didn't use that piece. But there's a few things that I would like to maybe change to make it sort of suit my city and to make it my own a little bit. So I might do that with some of these pieces, but the rest of them will absolutely be getting bagged up. And I'm just not quite ready to break it up and call it this is the set and we've put this aside. You will notice a couple of things that have got different in the pictures. So like this one here is grey, and there's a few more pieces like that. basically what happened is I really wanted to keep the little stand that you get with the different heads of the houses. I do really think that's really quite cute, and I do want to keep these guys together because it is the only way that you can get these minifigs in a set. I'm fairly certain still that is the case, unless something else has come out that I'm unaware of. If so, let me know. Yeah, so, and there's some brickwork used to build that base, so I needed to just use things that were in my inventory. I will eventually swap out this piece here, especially once I do get that piece, because the grey there does look quite funny. The other bits, like a little bit on the roof, I'm using a different colour on those snot bricks. I'll keep them because I actually don't mind that. I think it looks quite nice. So yes. So all in all, I absolutely adore this build. It is wonderful. It is a building that I would love to go and visit. We do have great places in rural Victoria, like Bendigo and places like that, that have these big, awesome buildings in their town square, sort of like the gold rush vibe in those towns. So yeah, so it is a beautiful building. And after all, that is what I'm building in my city. I'm building a city that I would like to go and visit, maybe minus the orc and the crocodile. I don't think I want to come. Yeah, I don't want to meet those guys, but maybe I'll take them out actually. That's a good idea. But yeah, so that is slowly what I am doing, is just building a place that I would like to visit and I would like to roam and I would like to live. So this definitely nails that. Also, the cost of living crisis at the moment, we are all living it. I can not understand how some people are coping at the moment with the cost of living. And, you know, having hobbies like Lego is extremely expensive. It is a luxury. It isn't a need. Like, other things come before Lego, unfortunately. Like, you know, feeding yourself and feeding your family and schooling your children and, you know, keeping the roof above your head. So we are all feeling that in every country. You know, COVID had definitely done its number on all of us. So I really did enjoy with this that I already had the set and I had already paid very, very small amount for it. And I was able to not just have the joy of building that set, but now rebuilding it into something else, and even going further and maybe mocking it up a little bit more and adding gardens and doing that. So what I'm basically trying to say in a very roundabout way, if you have a set that is sitting there and, you know, you have the ability to break it down and purchase one of these instructions off Rebrickable, it is a really, really great thing to do. Like, it is a really fun thing. It's given this set a lot more life. It's brought a little bit of joy into a part of my Lego set, and definitely brought a bit of joy into my life over the past days. And my daughters, they've been walking past and going, "Oh, Mum, that's so cool. Look at the stained windows." And so it is definitely worth it. So pull apart your Lego and rebuild. Like, it's what Lego is for. Well, that's what I think Lego is for anyway. So it's a marvelous build. Definitely check it out, especially if you've got the Hogwarts Castle sitting there collecting dust, absolutely. Or if you can get it for cheap online, or if you're just one of those guys that can just pick it up, then do that as well. It'll be great. So you've probably in this video seen a few little hints of what's happening in the background. I do still have that beautiful haul that I'm not allowed to touch until Christmas. So that is sitting under my desk patiently. I do have some awesome ideas of what I'm going to be working on in the background with that, especially with the Disney castle. I'm looking at re-bricking that, I guess. Or maybe I'll build it first, like get that build done, and then pull it apart and turn it into a bit of a modular building. I've had lots of thoughts. In Melbourne, we do have a big state library, which is very, very beautiful. And I wouldn't mind actually using those bricks and sort of turning it into something like that. I think that would be really, really fun. So that's going to be something that I work on in the background, and it's going to take me months to do. So it's definitely not going to be the next video. But there are lots of other things. I'm sure you can probably see a little snippet of the Botanical Friends set is sitting in the background. I do only have one of those sets, so I can't make a big grand thing that I've seen awesome YouTubers doing. So it will be interesting to see how I do that, because I don't think it's really something I want to spend money on a second set. So just using what's in my inventory for that. Lots more happening with this, with placing him in. I really want to get a start on those quarters. I've still got the Sanctum Secorum to place near him and the ice cream shop, of course, and I do want to start making that looking beautiful. So do stay tuned. Thanks so much, everyone, for subscribing and for liking and all your comments. I really, really, really appreciate it, and I get so excited when I see it. So thank you so much for taking the time to do that. I know it's not something that I should take lightly at all. I do really, really value your input, and being a very new Lego person, Lego fan, there's lots I'm learning and there's lots that I'm wanting to learn. So if you do have anything that you're like, hey, maybe you could do this, or hey, this is probably the right term for what you said, whoopsie, please feel free to pop it in the comments. I do really, really love your feedback. Anyway, thanks so much for joining in, and goodbye. Until the next one.